Have you ever started playing and had your fingers like fall over themselves? Or worse, your hand starts to cramp? Yeah, me neither. So if you've ever talked to a professional athlete about the incredible feats that they do on the field and how they do it, they'll likely tell you that warming up and stretching is one of the most important, if not the most important things they do before hitting the field. Starting out with stretches and some light calisthenics will prepare any athlete for the competition, even if it's in their backyard. And guitarists are no different. Ask yourself this: when was the last time you stretched before picking up a guitar? Likely it was to keep yourself warm when you were playing an outdoor gig in February. Warming up and stretching will prepare your hands, your fingers, and your mind to effectively play your instrument. Warming up and stretching will prepare your fingers, your hands, and your mind to effectively play your instrument. Like I said earlier, you've likely tripped over your own fingers, and the best way to prevent this is to stretch. Now here are 5 warm-up stretches that you should do before every musical session. Tip number 1, stretch. If you've never played any sports, stretching might seem new, odd, and you get a tingly feeling in your muscles. But if you have played sports, you know that stretching is key to not pulling any muscles or getting hurt. We want to do the same thing. And since guitar is pretty active, unless you're sitting down and playing jazz, you'll likely want to loosen up your whole body. But if anything, just loosen up your shoulders, loosen up your wrists, loosen up your fingers. Do the same on the other hand. A little bit of this, stretch those fingers out, stretch them out, push them together. You do all sorts of stuff. Just make sure your limbs, your fingers, your hands, your shoulders, they're all loose. Tip number 2, alternating tremolo pick. Alright, so now with tremolo picking, the key here is to warm up your picking hand. This hand's important too, but I feel like this hand often gets neglected. You want to tremolo pick, and for those of you who don't know what tremolo picking, think of like Eddie Van Halen during the eruption, right before it gets crazy in the tapping. For starters, you take one finger and you just kind of tremolo pick. Make sure you're going up and down, alternated picking, keeping your beat in time, but it also gets the blood to this hand, which is very critical in warming up. So you can do something fun like, trying to do Van Halen like a... Tip number 3, fret 4. So what you're going to do is assign each finger to each fret. So finger 1, your pointer, fret 1. Middle finger, fret 2. Ring finger, fret 3. Pinky, fret 4. Like this. All on one string. You can tell it's quite a big stretch, and try to get them as close to the fret as possible, so you have that nice stretch in between each one. Now do this up and down the neck. So you can also go backwards, but with backwards, make sure all 4 are on the fretboard and then pull them off individually. For extra level of difficulty, skip a fret. Or skip the middle fret. Or the 3rd fret. Tip number 4, string skipping. String skipping is where you're going to literally skip over a string. So you might pluck the A, and then pluck the D, and then maybe pluck the E. You play chords and skip. You can play scales, but while also skipping strings. You can also do string skipping, playing any note on the neck. Doesn't have to be musical, but the next string that you pluck can't be adjacent to the one that you previously plucked. So if I pluck the D string, I can't pluck the A string or the G string. So it'd be something like this. Pretty sure that's how Slash got Sweet Child of Mine, the intro lick. Apparently that was part of his warm-up technique, and now it's a huge song. So you never know what you can come up with. And tip number 5, fast metronome. So the last one's kind of boring. It's just playing your scales as fast as you can, but in time with a metronome. So set a metronome for something fast and start playing. The key here is to play as fast as you can, cleanly and accurately. If you find yourself tripping over your fingers or messing up, dial back the BPM until you can nail it at that particular BPM. Then bump it up by 5 or 10. Then you'll really be rocking. Like all these exercises, you should really alternate pick. It helps you musically in the long run, and it gives your right hand a warm up as well.